Hello, everybody. I'm here today with Lynne Sears, who's shown up here to assist humanity in the restoration that we're providing you all. So, Lynne, it's lovely to have you here. It was really a joy when you connected with us to let us know you wanted to come and be part of the project. So can you tell everybody a little bit about you and what your background is so they can begin to connect with you, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, hello. My name is Lynne Sears. I'm presently now living in the UK. I used to organise conferences for teachers of A Course in Miracles. I studied the Course in Miracles for a number of years. That was after I had an experience in my late 20s where it was a mystical experience, really. It was spontaneous. I don't know what caused it. I became one with everything. I realised that I was a part of everything. And the most profound thing was that I realised that other people were me. I came out of this experience dazed, but I knew I'd seen the truth somehow. And then when I did meet people, I saw it from a different point of view. I realised that it was myself talking to myself. Now, if it was just general conversations, that didn't make any difference really. But as soon as I came across people that pushed my buttons or that upset me, I started to believe that what they were saying was what I needed to hear and what I was saying to myself. So I decided to investigate almost every spiritual discipline out there to see if they could shed light on this or even explain what was going on with me. I didn't really share it with many people, and I haven't really shared it with many people until now. So what I did was I discovered A Course in Miracles, and then I finally discovered Ho'oponopono. And that was the time when everything clicked into place. And I realized I had a real tool that I could not only just experience what other people were saying to me as what I was saying to myself, but I could work on it, because he came up with the profound idea that everything was a subconscious memory being replayed. And that if you could clean, that you were like a canvas that had a stain and you could clean it. And if you did clean it, you were cleaning it maybe for not just yourself, but for humanity. And when I heard that, my heart soared, and I thought, right, from now on, when people say things to me that I don't want to hear, or I experience things I do not want to experience, I will do the job of cleaning it for myself and maybe for humanity.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, because that's an important point that you've made there, Lynn, the fact that we are all connected like a network. The real network is humanity, not the internet. That's a fabulous tool, or any other form of networking. It is humanity that is the network, and that was beautifully put. So what we do to help ourselves helps everybody to grow, and that's the beauty of the work that we do. You help one, or you help yourself, you help everybody in some way. So why do you feel that the time is now to speak up and share what you know?
I did think for a while of becoming a therapist myself, because I do think I can see things from a different point of view, and that's very helpful to people. But I continued along the path of doing the inner work myself. So if I came across somebody that was in need of help, I saw it as myself and I worked on myself. So I didn't actually need to work with them. But recently I've come across a few therapists are starting to realize what I realized, that the people in front of them, the best way to help them is to also work on themselves, which is I think this is a very new thing in the world. And again, I found that very exciting to think that therapists would start to take on board their own responsibility for the people that were in front of them needing help. So I then heard about your movement, your Global Consciousness Summit, and I decided that maybe now was the time to start speaking up. It is scary for me because it does seem like you've gone mad. There are not many people out there that seem to be able to operate their life from the fact that they're one with everything. And it's very difficult to explain. It's very easy to do now, so many years on, but it's very difficult to explain.
Yeah, until you recognize that we're all an aspect of source, or God, whatever it is for you, then it's difficult to comprehend the fact that, as you say, that we are all one, and if you actually hurt somebody else, you're hurting yourself, equally so. That's an important point to make. Everything that you do has an effect on all living things, not just people, but animals, trees, everything that's got life force is affected by what you do. So on that basis, and partly what you've touched on it partly earlier, is, as far as you're concerned, how does becoming one with everything solve everything?
Right. As soon as you, for a start, you stop projecting guilt and blame onto others. That's the major one. Straight away, there is almost automatic forgiveness because that's coming in front of you for a reason. And you almost thank, I wouldn't say always because it's a difficult thing to do, but you do thank yourself, you thank the universe for the experience. You thank that person for saying what they did, even though it may have really hurt you at the time or not be what you thought you wanted to hear. Then you take it to another level where you start to create better. You as you're cleaning, your creation is cleaned too. So if you've forgiven something, straight away you're not as nervous yourself of being accused of being similar to that person or of making mistakes. You start to release the guilt in yourself. Therefore, creation's freer to create. There's a freedom there because now you're not feeling guilt or fear. So that helps. And then also there's less stress, and less stress equates to less illness. That's for sure. That's very recent, really, isn't it? Maybe only the past 10, 20 years, people have recognized stress as the source of illness, obviously with disease. And you are certainly a healthier person because you're not as stressed, because you're laughing at why you would put this ridiculous scenario in front of yourself. There are no you're not a victim anymore, and that's the end of being a victim, really, because now you are in power. You have something you have a very powerful tool, which is love, really, forgiveness, to be able to resolve what's happening to you for all time, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you're talking about actually is changing the DNA imprint, which the self-work that Lynne is talking about helps you to do, because as you release stuff, let go of stuff, however you term it, you evolve. You don't have to fit into the rest of your family's way of being. You can be completely original and authentically different. And it's the beauty of making the choice to be you over fitting in. That's what you're talking about, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, there is a sense of inner freedom and of confidence, and there's less choice in a way. I feel I'm more guided. There's more intuition, and I think that the world needs to embrace that less choice is better. I think we've gone down the path of, most of us now have so much choice. Money's freed us up. Most people now have money to choose to do things that were unbelievable 100 years ago. And I think with all that choice, we've lost our way I think that it's too much, and we need intuition back, and we need to be choosing from who we are rather than what the ego dictates. The ego may dictate that you have a huge house and a beautiful car and you want to impress people, but that may not be you at all. So it comes back to what you want to create for yourself, and then it becomes very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, you know, you are the captain of your ship, is what you're saying, isn't it, Lynn? You know, you have the choice, and when you really do claim and stand in your power, you can be and become anything, can't you?
But you may be able to do that if you won the lottery. You think then you will be able to be all these things you want to be and do all the things you want to do. But in actual fact, if they're not you, you may not be happy if you do them, or you get that freedom. Whereas this way round, it comes to you in a beautiful, miraculous, divine way, and you're one with it because you started out from being one with it. You started from that vantage point.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what do you actually do right now with all your knowledge and awareness, or are you evolving yourself into how you're helping people with it?
I think I'm evolving as to how I'm helping people, because I think I was always nervous about helping people until I heard of other therapists that are using the Ho'oponopono method of helping people. That's freed me. I live a very normal life. I'm a care worker. I use it on a daily basis, anything that I come across, to clean. That's what I see my job as. So I don't really get very stressed with anything. I immediately know what I'm supposed to do. I do it naturally. And I feel as though I'm really helping humanity without being known to be doing that.
Yeah, and that is the humility that is shining out through so many of the people in this summit, actually. They don't realize how powerful they are and how beautiful their message is, and what they can do. And so many of them have said, I've got nothing to say. And actually when you get talking, everything that comes out has pearls in. And you're the same. And actually that's the description of higher consciousness in itself, because higher consciousness is nothing, and yet it's everything. And that sums up really everything that you're saying. You're explaining consciousness, really. So what do you envision in the future for humanity?
Oh, Shauna, if only I could have another hour to tell you. I am so excited. I am so optimistic. I just think that we're moving into something so amazing. We're going to create a new reality on earth, a heaven on earth. I really think that's possible. I think once we begin to create better, we understand that everything's our own responsibility. There'll be less rules, there'll be less regulations. I think there'll be less stress on the younger people who seem to just be drowning in a sea of things they can't do and restrictions. I think technology will move in a new direction. I think rather than trying to save us time and resolve things, I think technology will move in a direction where we can just experience magic on a daily basis. I think people will do less work, but what I think they will work, but they will work at things that they love to do. I think there'll be much less feeling of needing to earn money doing a job that you don't like and that is your life, really. There'll be less illness. In a way, I sometimes come across the Watchtower of Jehovah's Witnesses and the cover of it, where it paints this beautiful world where everybody will get on together and everybody will share in heaven. I really believe that image, and may not have anything else right, but that image is what we're all heading for. And I think there's a speeding up process. So I'm really excited, and I hope to be able to see it in my lifetime. I used to think that maybe it was 100 years time, but I'm really hopeful we're going to see it in our lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly the direction in which we're moving in a big way here. So that's why it's such a joy to have you with us, because you share the same vision. The fact that we're bringing the future to ground, the fact that we are the bridge over troubled waters, all these things encompass what we are. We are humble people that believe that we're nothing, have nothing to offer, and yet when we really look, we have everything to offer. We are everything because we are connected to our core, and that's the beauty of it. So I'm just going to ask you now, if I asked you to really speak about you in regards to what's pressing on your heart right now, what would you want to say to people?
What's pressing on my heart right now, I think, I am coming across, since I've moved back to the UK, I'm coming across a lot of people that are very stressed, almost suicidal, are going through so much. And I just see it, that if they were to adopt what I've adopted, which is not easy, they could relieve so much of that stress, and a lot of things would make sense to them. Where they're feeling guilty for things that they did, or angry at things that have happened to them, so much of it would be resolved, and that is so close to my heart. And I don't know how to accomplish that. I don't know whether, obviously if I speak to people and they're willing to accept this, then obviously that opens up a whole gate to them, to their learning. But that's what's really close to my heart at the moment. I think coming back to the UK has been a shock for me. I was living in a community where people were freer, where there were less rules and regulations, where if I was to say that somebody had done something to me, I was with a community that would have said, well, what's going on within you, Lynne? So I was supported in all of my beliefs. They may not have had the same impression that I did, that they were one, but we all knew that you had to look within and see what was going on within yourself. So you couldn't get away. I couldn't get away with being too stressed or being too upset about anything, in a way. And so therefore I've come back, and people are getting away with it because there's no lifeline for them.
Yeah.
And that's what's close to my heart at the moment. I would love to reach out to those people and say, the future is so fantastic. I wish you could join me in it.
Yeah, and I hope they are watching, because Lynne is waiting to assist you with what she knows. And as a care worker, you're switching from that to becoming a carer of humanity.
Yeah, it's a good reflection of me, really. Because I physically care for people, whereas I am doing inwardly the work that's is the best care you can give mankind.
It is. It absolutely is. And also, it's essential, but it's not for the faint-hearted.
No.
I was saying,
I would never have been able to do this interview, Shauna, just a few months ago. I wouldn't have had the courage. Because you are vulnerable to people thinking you're mad, and that you're an oddball, I suppose, and we all want to fit in and lead normal lives.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've been like me. I've made that mistake. I say a mistake, but actually I've learned what I've learned about humanity from doing it. But I took the steps to try and fit in, do what everyone else does, and it didn't really suit me at all. It was destructive.
Yeah.
And I suppose your message is to follow the heart, really. And, you know, what are you willing to help people with in this moment of now, if they come to you from connecting with you through this interview?
Well, anything that I say to them is coming from themselves. So they will pull out of me what they need to hear, and it may not be pleasant. That's the thing as well, why I'm nervous about it, is sometimes you need to give people some few home truths, and that cannot be, sometimes it's not pleasant. But if they can accept that whatever they hear from my being is from my love for them, even though I've never met them, and that what I'm saying is truly what comes to me to say, and that I'm not going to feel bad for saying it, because how could they have brought that out of me unless they needed to hear it? If they can come from that, they're going to get a tremendous amount of help from me. I know for a fact. And likewise, they will probably help me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because quite often the teacher becomes the pupil, because we're always learning.
Always.
Always learning. No one's beyond learning. And anyone who thinks they are is kidding themselves.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I've met people who think they are, and they really are kidding themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful message, actually, to put out there, that if basically it's if you're willing to show up for you, and Lynne's ready to help you now, as are many others in the summit. In fact, everybody in the summit's willing to help you if you do that. But what I find is that it does take a leap of faith, because you have no idea where you're going. You're just showing up to follow your purpose that you've always felt is yours, but you have no idea how you're going to do it. So you just leap off the cliff and see what happens. And you know, as I say, it's not for the faint-hearted, is it? Then
no. But my experience is that when people first embrace it, they get huge positive results.
Yeah.
Which is the universe supporting them in it, that they're on the right path. So I think it is optimistic. I don't think people have to be fearful. I think they will get amazing results very swiftly.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Once you show up for you, you really do begin to get the bounty, I'm going to say, because you've shown courage, which is a divine attribute. Fear's been put in your way, and you've said, okay, I'm afraid, but I'm doing it anyway. And that in itself is a very powerful thing. So would you say, Lynne, that you're all about teaching people to stand in their power?
Yes, that would be a good summary of it, Shauna. I would love to help people stand in their power.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, yeah, Lynne's a lovely heart, and she's just waiting to help you if you've connected with her. You can connect with her directly through the website. It's atoughworldouthere.com. And she's waiting to hear from you, and she'll respond to you when you message her. So, Lynne, is there any other messages that you would love to share with people here today about you?
Just that love is a massive power, And I think it's underestimated in the world. And I think all these things I've talked about, everything that I've talked about, is because love is underpinning it, and that we're about to reveal in the world the true power of love.
Absolutely. And what a powerful note to finalize this interview on. Yeah, love and wisdom combined together are the most powerful sources of moving forwards that this world knows. And, you know, it is through love and wisdom that the world will change, because there is no hatred in pure love. And that's why, and all the pain will fall away, and the beauty will begin to shine out, and the future will ground. But it's beginning to ground now with the fact that we're even doing this interview.
It's a good sign.
It is a good sign indeed. Excellent sign. And thank you very much, Lynne, for being with us today. It's been a joy to speak to you.
Well, thank you, Shauna. I've only known you for very, very, very little time, but I already feel a wonderful connection to you. And I'm sure this is the start of something quite amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.